Hey folks, Colin here from Something's Recording, and today I'm going to show you how to import a track and find the tempo of that track, whether it's an instrumental beat you're working with or a song you're going to be tracking to, and then set that tempo inside your DAW and align that track to your new tempo. Okay, so I just have a stereo track that we're going to be working with today, so we're just going to open up an empty song file here, and I'll play a little bit of the song for you. We don't need to name it or save it or anything. We will set the tempo after we find it in a second. I'm also going to show you how to find the tempo of your track here, okay? So just an empty song here. We don't need the browser or anything. Here's the beat we're going to pull in. So we're just going to use Studio One's drag and drop feature to import this beat. We'll make it large, or you know what, we'll go extra large just for kicks. So there's our beat way down there. So we can cut it and move it forward. We can probably go a little bit more so it doesn't take up an enormous amount of space. Maybe we can get it all on the screen there. And just because I like it, I'm going to put my markers up here, okay? So now we're going to pull, we'll probably have to pull this down since it is an instrumental track. We'll pull the volume down to maybe -10 for now. Let me get my headphones on here. So what we can do is actually use Studio One's tap tempo feature, okay? So we can go in here and listen to the beat, and we can actually tap down here using the tap tempo feature, and all you do is you just go where it says tempo, and then you just click out the beat, and it will automatically find the tempo of the song. But what I do want to do first is make sure this isn't going to align to the tempo, because we haven't set the tempo yet. We don't know it for this track, so we don't want it to change as we tap out the tempo, okay? So let's see here. So I went through a couple times there just tapping out to the beat of the song, and it looks like we're sitting somewhere between 71, 74. Let's see how we're doing with 72. So we're going to use a variety of features inside of Studio One today to find and set our tempo. So we're going to start with 72 here. We're going to be somewhere in between, looks like 71 and 74. So we're going to click on our track and find one of the main transients here, okay? So there's our first kick drum, so that's our downbeat. So what we can do is use the tab to transient feature to find our first transient and set that on a 1, okay? So here's our kick drum, so we can just click on our track, click a little bit beforehand, we'll click tab. Now we're at our kick drum, so we're gonna do Alt-X to cut at that kick drum. We can delete everything before that for the moment, and then we'll just line this at, we'll go to 11 now, so we have a little bit of room beforehand, okay? So now we'll see if everything aligns. It does not look like it aligns. So our track is looking a little bit faster, so let's kick this up to 73. We'll pull this to 12 and see where we're sitting. Still a little bit faster, so we'll go to 74. Move it up a little bit. So you can see all I'm looking at is where the next kick lands. So that looks okay. Let's go a little bit further into the song and see where we're sitting. Okay, so by the next verse or so, we're off. Let's go back down to 73 and see where we were sitting there. So we're a little bit before. Let's see where we're sitting at the next verse. We're way before. Okay, so that means we have to be in between 73 and 74 maybe. So let's try 73.5. So now we can pull this track back to 12 and see where we're sitting. Okay, so that first part looks good. Let's see our next verse. Okay, so now our next verse lines up. Okay, so our tempo is oddly in between on this song. But you see how we found that? Okay, so we listened to our track. We tapped out the tempo, right? So all we did, we had our track playing. And then we just clicked down here and counted it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and that got us in the ballpark, right? Because we're tapping out the tempo. So then all we did was use our tab to transient feature to find our first kick drum here. So now we're on our kick drum. Alt X to cut at that kick drum, so that gives us our downbeat, right? And then we can drag our track and align that kick drum to a 1. So we're aligning it to 12 here, so that's our 1, that's our downbeat. And then we're just playing with the tempo till we see the rest of the track lines up. So you can see these kicks here line up, our next downbeat lines up, and then you want to go further into the track. So I'm looking at this next verse here to make sure everything still lines up. So at this next verse, our kick, our 1 is still landing right on the bar, okay? So now we've got our track lined up. So we can pull it back here to the beginning and see now we can trim out some of this stuff here. That stuff we don't need, and we can pull up our start marker. And you can see even the beginning of our track here lands right on the downbeat. So we could even cut it even further and pull it back if we needed to. Okay, so now we've got our tempo lined up. We've got our track set to the tempo. We can pull our end marker up just for kicks. And now if we need to track, say, vocals over this beat, we could create a new track. We just need one mono track. We could call it Vox and color it yellow. We could set our input to the vocal input if we needed to, if we're going to track vocals over this. Now we have a vocal track. We could enable that to record if we needed to. And then, because we lined it up to the tempo, we can put our click on here, and it'll stay right in time here.
Breakfast time I stand across the table at an empty chair.
So in this intro section, where there's no where there's no kick drum, where there's no drums or anything to keep us in time, we can have that click there to keep us in time. And then when we get to this end section here, everything lines up perfectly. Our kicks land right on our click. Everything's in time, okay? So that is a simple, easy way to use Studio One to find the tempo of your track, set it inside your DAW, and then line your track up or line your beat up to that tempo so you can track with a click or just track and edit on the grid a little bit easier. Thank you guys so much for watching. Quick one here for you today, and I will see you in the next video.